Not too bad. How are you guys doing?
Okay.
Everything's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And how did the MRI experience go? I heard you didn't feel anything.
He had a slight headache afterwards.
Oh, you did have a headache?
Oh,
Oh,
want
he
to
was
see
the
like
first.
later.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, but it went away okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave him Tylenol before they let him go home, and then I gave him another dose like early in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. Oh, he needed another dose?
Mhm.
But then after that, everything was okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, it was another good set of data. And so, not really too much to show you, but he's reporting to us. It looks like he can get up to another 40% of blood flow, which is good if he needs it in the brain,
Mhm.
which is what we're trying to look for in the test. So we kind of do this. I'm not sure how much in detail we went before, but basically trying to induce like a type of stress situation for the brain without actually stressing the brain, and seeing how his brain can respond.
Okay.
And so seeing if his body can deliver more blood to his brain if he needs it. So it's looking like he can do that. So that's good. That's a good thing.
And what about the aneurysm?
The aneurysm, there's reading lots of in-depth changes, and so yeah, he said 40 to 50 interval increase, so that's pretty good range. The aneurysm, I still don't really think is very concerning because we can trace it back over time. But this it keeps showing up on all the reports and everything, and it'll never really stop showing up on the reports. And so the next step would be the more invasive test to really see how much of a problem it is or not.
Which is what?
And that's called a cerebral angiogram. And so what that involves is basically a bunch of X-ray movies of dye moving through the blood vessels, and that gives us what we call dynamic views of the blood vessels and show how the flow is flowing through, and also gives a kind of a better sense of whether they can kind of get really specific views on it and see if there's anything problematic about it.
Okay. And reading the report, it said it was one on the right and one on the left.
Yeah, possibly one on the right, which
And going back to the initial MRI where it first showed up, it wasn't two, it was only on one side.
Well, they don't really, they didn't read them as in-depthly as he's reading them now. So yeah, I'd have to go back and compare again, but he didn't put in the final report.
And then he also did the CT scan.
So he wrote about this in the upper portion here, and I looked at it briefly. Unchanged for lateral joint right aspect of the vascular. Yeah, and so I don't think these are really all that concerning. Let's see, Series 6 and 24. Let's just pull it up. I'm going to talk to him today about this MRI, so I'll talk to him again about these other parts of it. But if you're finding the reports kind of unsettling and so on,
And they are.
the next step would be the angiogram. So that's the next question to kind of think about. But overall, I think we talked about this last time. He just has bigger vessels in general. So.
But wouldn't they be able to tell the vessels from an actual aneurysm? Isn't that what the reports is for?
Not always. It kind of depends on what the shape of them is and what's going on. And so that's where the angiogram, the more invasive study, is a little more helpful. Yeah, because again, these things don't look like aneurysms to me. I'm not sure why everybody keeps calling them aneurysms. See, like,
Right, and it's not only on one report. Every report is saying the same thing.
you can see here, this one, let's see, let me get oriented again. So this is the right side thing they're talking about, and it looks like it's just a loop of the vessel. And you can see it back here. There's another loop of the vessel coming off, and then here there's another loop of the vessel. Maybe they're talking about that little fleck, but I don't.
But why is it a darker white than the rest of it?
The darker white. Oh, you mean this, like through here?
The loop looks like it's a darker. It shows more.
You mean like this part is? This is darker
Yeah.
somewhere. No, you're not really looking at the color, just the flow of the vessels and seeing if there's any little like bubbles coming out of it. The color is just kind of the way the study works, so it's not necessarily going to be darker white. That's not really problematic. I think what he's talking about, maybe these little things off there, but this vessel gives off small little branches, and so I don't think that's really going to be a big issue. And then I think this one maybe he's talking about here, just like the takeoff is broad, where it branches, the branching point is broad and it's becoming smaller. But again, I don't really think these are big problems, so I'm gonna have to ask him what he's talking about. So I showed you this one before. This is the one that kind of other one we were following, but you can see here it's a loop of a vessel. They keep calling it an aneurysm.
So they're misreporting what the actual diagnosis is.
Not misreporting, but there's kind of there's a way things look on the MRI, and then there's kind of like the actual reality in his head, which we're not privy to look at directly, and then there's kind of our interpretation of the MRI and what it is, and so I would say they're being cautious, not really. Misreporting makes them sound like they're making a mistake, I guess, but I wouldn't say they're exactly making a mistake, but we're just kind of disagreeing on.
And that's what I'm saying. This is his brain. This is somebody's actual life. So to have misunderstandings amongst doctors is scary. Like, y'all don't really understand what y'all reading.
I guess I can see why you think that, but that's not. I guess that's not how I understand the situation, because there's a lot of for some situations it's not always definitive. MRIs are not meant to be definitive.
Yeah, that's why you said he needed the CT scan, we did that. You said he needed the Diamox, we did that. And now it's still nothing clear. It's still no clear answers. It's still a what if.
The Diamox doesn't answer the aneurysm question. The Diamox just answers, does he need a different type of blood delivery to his brain because of his sickle?
Yeah, but he's had the blockage at his brain since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So the Diamox was for what?
Because things progress over time, and so we just want to make sure that he's still able to respond appropriately. And that kind of stuff wasn't done back in 2011.
I just feel like I'm still not getting any answers. The possibility of the aneurysms being there is just still a possibility, and you as a doctor can't even tell me.
Right, because, so this is kind of, we're going back to the beginning again, the angiogram is going to be the more definitive way to answer the question.
Which involves you going in his head.
No, it's a groin puncture, and they thread the catheter up to the base of the brain.
You had that when he had the stroke. Okay.
He had an angiogram?
Mm-hmm. That was in here? Richmond. It's probably not. That was in Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. What year was that?
2011.
2011. Oh, okay. So yeah, so that's not going to give us any recent information. So, so then you're familiar. The risk is, there's very low risk involved, but there is risk and it's invasive, and some people don't want to go that route.
Yeah, but it's like the scans that you guys are ordering now is not telling me anything. It's leaving me more worried and concerned for him than it is answering anything.
Can you tell me more about that? Why are you more concerned?
Because he's been doing the yearly MRIs for at least the past 10 years, and this is the first MRI that said anything about an aneurysm.
But yeah, I showed you, they've been there for a while. They just, people were not commenting on them.
So then how can I trust a doctor if they're going to just overlook something that's in a report that should have been said?
I guess I don't know how to answer that question for you about the past, but I'm just trying to help you with the process and going over things in detail with you. And so I'm not trying to hold anything back, trying to give you the full picture. So I guess I'm asking you to trust me, because I'm going to try to give you everything I know and look over everything. And sometimes these things come up on the imaging because it's not exactly always going to be exact, and every radiologist is going to be a little bit different. And some people are, what they say about medicine is it's not an exact science, right? And so they're all just going to be a little bit different from each other. So today, I already have a meeting set up with the radiologist, and we're going to go over it together, and we can try to get a little bit more, a little more agreement on the report findings and go from there. But the other step would be the angiogram if you want to go forward with that.
Yeah, but then that's not going to definitely answer anything either.
No, it usually does for angiograms, for aneurysms. But I don't make guarantees in medicine, so if you're looking for a guarantee, I can't.
No, I'm not looking for a guarantee. I'm just looking for answers. Right now, it just seems like we have reports that's saying, yeah, this is here, it needs to be seen, it needs to be addressed immediately. But then we get here and it's just a vessel. Is it a vessel or is it an aneurysm?
The report doesn't say it needs to be addressed immediately.
Yeah, before I seen you the first time, that's why I had to make the appointment, because they had the big red box at the top of the MRI saying that it needed to be addressed.
You're talking about something in the MRI report that said
Yeah.
it needs to be addressed immediately?
Mm-hmm.
Before our last visit?
Mm-hmm. That was why his hematologist told me that I needed to bring him here. Because normally he sees neurology once a year, he sees Dr. Marcuse, and I was concerned as to why he needed to come to you versus going to Dr. Marcuse, who's been following him all this time.
Let's see. So the MRI, you're talking about January 6th MRI?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see anything about that. Yeah, doesn't say anything about follow. This was the one they said get the CTA. Maybe you mean the CTA, January 26th. No, I don't think anything doesn't have there says anything needs to get addressed immediately either. Problem is the things that they're talking about are things that are mainly discernible on a microscopic level. So, for example, here he's saying infundibular dilatations versus aneurysms, and that's not something we're going to be able to be definitively, that we can definitively answer based on the imaging alone. You have to take it out and look at it under the microscope and be able to say, this is an infundibular dilatation, this is an aneurysm. And following over time helps to kind of to say this is getting bigger and worse and more threatening, or if it's looking pretty much more or less stable. And so that's currently the situation we're in. Just saying, this is looking more or less more threatening or less threatening. This is looking stable, changing much, not changing much.
I don't know. Just I'm not understanding.
What would can you help me figure out what would be good for you to know about this, and what would you want to do for the next steps?
I don't know, because I follow all of his reports. We do this once a year where he gets the MRI, and I've never seen an aneurysm pop up or a mass or anything pop up because I would have been raised as concern. So to have it now and then all these tests ordered, we do the test and then it's still just a possibility. It's not giving no answers. It's not giving any comfort.
Well, the comfort is meant to be kind of drawn out in the comparisons, and so if things are still just looking the same, then that tells us it's not evolving into a problem.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm open to your suggestions if there's something you want to see done or something.
I
that we can do
can't
differently.
suggest anything if I don't know exactly what's going on. All I have are possibilities that there's something in his head. It's a possibility. I don't know for sure. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand none of that stuff on there other than the major words that I know.
Okay. Excuse me. So, I can update you on the discussion with the radiologist today. But if there's something you want me to do, I can help you with that. In the meantime, I would just keep recommending surveillance because stability and not changing is the reassurance that we're looking for. That there's not a problem involved. What do you think?
Okay.
I want to hear what you want to do because obviously you're not content with the situation, and I want to find a solution that's going to be good for you. So please.
A
tell me
solution would be actually knowing what's going on inside of his head. He already has sickle cell. He already has a history of a stroke. So something else going on in his head may be tragic to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to be, it's not serious, and then something happens and it becomes serious.
Yeah, but we in medicine, we know there's not a lot of direct things we can do inside the head without opening the head, and so we have to rely on the indirect MRIs.
And even the indirect is not giving out no answers, other than there's no change.
That's okay. Well, I guess we classify that as an answer, but
Okay.
we got more information on the Diamox that his brain is responding and can deliver more blood. So that tells us that the reason we're concerned about stroke is about, is there going to be a time when his brain can't get enough blood? I want to do what is going to provide you satisfaction. So we're trying to figure out what you need to tell me more because I can't. I know you're not happy with the situation, but I need to, if to be able to get you closer to feeling more comfortable. I need to know what you're thinking.
I just need to know what's going on inside of his head.
Yeah, this is the best data that we can give you inside his head. So without opening it up or without doing the angiogram. If you want to do the angiogram, we can do that. It sounds like you want to, so I think we should just order that and get it done.
Mayshawn, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the risks of it?
Well, I think you should meet with them to discuss in more detail, but broadly speaking, it can cause strokes. You can get hematomas from the vessel, the punctures going in, so they're all quite low, in the low single-digit percentages, but sometimes the vessels can get injured from the catheters going out, but these are done, several times. We just did a recent one, another sickle cell patient. She's doing fine from the angiogram, but the risk profile always sounds, unfortunately, terrible, but that's just the situation we're in.
So if this were your child, what would you do?
I would be content to just keep observing, but you don't like that plan, and so I'm trying to give you alternatives. I think angiograms are safe and fine to go forward with, but if you wanted to hear the risks, then unfortunately it doesn't sound great because risks always make everything sound.
I mean, I've been content for the past 10 years because he's been doing the MRIs, and this is the first one that they made an issue about.
Yeah.
So now that content went out the window, and now it's fair. And I don't know why, because nobody's giving me any answers.
Now it's what?
Nobody's giving any answers. Nobody has any definite answers.
No, you said it's fair, or?
Yeah.
Oh, fair? What's fair? What do you mean?
As in worry, scare.
Fear. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's why I wanted to try to show you that it was there before, and things are stable. But I think he'll be okay. And we have a lot of good info right now. And I think he's been doing well now, and just keep in close contact with the team. He's being seen regularly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, I'd probably plan for another one in 6 months. We can maybe just tighten up that imaging interval, and that can give us a little bit more stability, sense of stability, if you want to do that.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we do another MRA in 3 months then, because he's pretty good at doing the MRIs. And then 3 months later, we'll do another one with the Diamox and another MRA.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you think? Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
You do well in the MRIs, is what I'm hearing. Do you agree? Okay. We'll put those orders in, if that sounds okay, Mom.
Yes.
Okay. I'll let you know if anything comes up from talking with Dr. Himes today, and I'll clarify some of the concerns that you have with him.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
See you
Cool.
guys.
All right.
As y'all can see, still no answers, still possibilities. I don't know, I need to find another doctor.